Welcome to the Northern Business Podcast. Each week we talk to people active in business and the economy about the big issues driving growth in the north of England. We're sponsored by Virtue Motors, one of the UK's largest motor retailers. You can see its website at virtuemotors.com, VERTU Motors. I'm Graham Robb, I own Recognition PR, and we help scores of businesses promote their services and their products, and some are featured on this podcast. Don't miss an episode by subscribing on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast. We're live on LinkedIn every Wednesday evening. In the studio today, we've got Andrew Haley, Chartered Financial Planner at Active, Chartered Financial Planners. And down the line is Jamie Hardesty, Director of Communications and Ecosystem at the Sunderland Software City. And later, my colleague Joss Havakin will be talking to Aman Chahal of TaperedPlus and academics from Teesside University about the AI they've developed to streamline the company's operations. Well, first of all, gents, welcome to the programme, Andrew and Jamie. Andrew, if I can kick off with you from Active Chartered Financial Planners. We've got a general election on. I don't intend to deal with the politics on this business programme, but it is very interesting to look at the economic background. And your company advises people who own businesses and how to make their investments and so on. What do you see as the current economic climate?
Well, we've had quite a lot of news. We spoke last time around the inflation and interest rate story points. We've had a lot of positivity to take from that. So if you'll have seen, I'm sure, the most recent figures on CPI, that kind of headline rate that comes out, we've got 2.3% coming in now. And with the Bank of England's target of 2%, we're nigh on where we should be from an inflation point of view. I think what the Bank of England is probably more concerned with, and the Monetary Policy Committee are probably weighing over, is that what we see in some of the GDP figures, which are positive, and also the more core inflation figures, is that when you strip out some of the food or energy prices falls, which are having the most impact on inflation at the minute, that service sector is still quite strong. Wage growth is still quite strong in that kind of 5 to 6% region still. So with those factors, overall, the decision on interest rates, which I think most people are probably, in a business perspective, looking at quite closely, it's no surprise that we're seeing that stay stable. The expectation is still that we'll see a cut during the summer, perhaps, but the most recent Monetary Policy Committee, they held it 7-2, and the majority saying let's keep that rate stable.
Now, interestingly, it could have been this month that there was an interest rate cut, but with the election, it's unlikely that the Bank of England will play politics like that.
Yeah,
it might be seen to side the government if it did that.
Yes, yeah, I think that's the case. And there were two members looking for a cut, only to 5%, a quarter of a percentage cut in the interest rate. I'm sure those with mortgages still in the 4 to 5% range, and businesses that are looking at investing or taking on debt would like to see something of a cut.
Growth is the key aim of all the political leaders. They want to see growth in the economy, and there was quite significant and surprising growth in the first quarter of this year. And all sectors were growing except for construction. And manufacturing was growing quite significantly, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's still a service sector-led growth, and we are a service sector-style economy. So I think the figure for the first quarter now is looking to come in at about 0.6%. The estimates are saying for that. We had that 0.4 for this month figure, up from 0.2 in February. So yes, looking positive. Construction, not so much, but certainly on the services sector side, it is.
Now, unemployment, it has nudged up a bit, but it's still at long-term historic lows. In the northeast, below 5%, still at 4.4%. Yorkshire, 3.6%. Northwest, 5.5%. You know, we can remember. I remember not too long ago, unemployment rates of nearly 10%. So the actual employment rate and unemployment rate do signify that there is a tight labour market still.
Yeah, absolutely. In the longer term trend, the last 10 years or so, it's still relatively tight. Those that can work are largely in work. Those that have the inability to work is still largely, or the inactivity is still largely down to long-term sickness, long-term illness is still the main contributing factor there. But yes, from a recruitment perspective, I think everyone, a lot of businesses will echo that labour market is tight, it's difficult to find who they want to fill those roles.
Well, that's a good overview. I'm going to bring on our other principal guest today. Now, that's Jamie Hardesty. Now, Jamie, it's a great title, this. Welcome to the programme. A Director of Communications and Ecosystem Development at Sunderland Software City. So what do you do? How is Software City performing? What's it all about?
Thanks, Graham. Well, yes, it is slightly a long job title, quite convoluted there, isn't it? Effectively, we are an organisation which exists to drive forward the growth of the technology sector here in North East England. So we do that by helping people digitally upskill and explore careers. We help get tech startups off the ground, and we help both tech and non-tech companies alike grow their organizations by using digital technology. So we're very much we work all across the region. We have different touch points, and effectively my job is twofold. So partly it's to understand what businesses need and therefore look at how we can help them. And then the communication side is simply ensuring that people know about us and the right people, the right audiences can access all of our programs of support and tap into our network.
Now, we're going to hear in the next interview of a case study where Teesside University has helped a company with its AI development. So what kind of help do you provide to existing companies as Sunderland Software City?
So we've got a few different touch points. So we help companies adopt basic digital technology. So that you might be a manufacturer who still counts your stock using paper and pencil. We'll come in, we'll explain there are digital solutions which you can take on board, which will help you become more productive or more efficient. All the way through to the adoption of advanced digital technologies. So we've got a lot of access to expertise and access to infrastructure where we'll help companies embed the latest emerging technologies. So AI, data, immersive technologies, even quantum computing. We're working with a couple of companies at the moment. So right across that digital transformation spectrum.
Okay, that's really exciting. Now, where do you think the Northeast is in this? It has. I was at the Make UK annual Northern Conference 2 weeks ago, and I was pleased to see that a lot of northern manufacturers are adopting robotics and new next level digitization to perform tasks that you really thought would be performed by human beings. Cobots as well, robots that work alongside human beings.
Yep. So I think we often say that the Northeast tech sector sort of punches above its weight. We're a small region tucked up in the corner of England, but it doesn't stop us from having successes. You mentioned robotics, Graham. We've got some literally world-class companies in the Northeast in the field of robotics. So we've got Tharsis up in Northumberland who work with some of the biggest food suppliers across the UK. We've got Wutzano, who are a robotics company in Durham. Now they work with some of the largest food distributors in California as well. So we've got real credentials. Now don't get me wrong. We, of course, like any UK region outside of London, we have our challenges, but actually we've got some fantastic success stories, and that's something I think we really need to celebrate and not be too modest about. I mean, there's only one software company in the FTSE 100, and that's been headquartered in Newcastle since 1981, and of course that's Sage PLC. So we've got some real accolades and credentials in this part of the world. That's
right, and there's a software trade body called Dynamo for the northeast of England, and it has hundreds and hundreds of members. And there are new. So when you look at Sunderland Software City, is it aligned with the universities as well?
Yep, absolutely. So you mentioned Dynamo, the tech network. So Software City and Dynamo actually merged around 18 months ago to really try and better align and coordinate some of the players that we have here in the sector. Our universities are very important, not just in terms of churning out talent or fantastic people with computer science degrees, but equally, they're real breeding grounds for entrepreneurship and for new startups getting off the ground as well. We work closely with, we work with all of the universities in the region. We've worked very closely recently with Newcastle University to launch a new data hub in the city. So that's in partnership with the National Innovation Centre for Data as well. So our universities, I think, are a real sort of cornerstone of the tech ecosystem.
Okay, now you've got these events, Tech Next. Tell us about this event, Tech Next, and how it's going to champion tech companies in the northeast of England.
Yes, so Tech Next is our regional technology festival. We launched our inaugural festival last summer, so last year. We're back for year 2, and really, it's all about coordinating and championing and celebrating the tech sector that we have in the Northeast. So we bring together startups, SMEs, corporates, employers, job seekers. We're bringing in companies from outside of the region, from outside of the UK. You know, we've got a huge delegation from India. We've got folks from North America and from Europe, you know, all ascending to the Northeast for this week. And really, it's twofold, the festival, Graham. So we've got our series of curated or main staple events. So we've got a main stage conference with some leading inspirational speakers. We've got an industry dinner, and we've got a big jobs fair as well, our Tech Talent Live event. Now, as well as that, what we really wanted to do was we wanted to make this an open festival. So we really wanted the companies of the Northeast, you know, some of the leaders in the tech sector to open their doors, put on events, and really try and corral what we actually have in the sector. So we've got 75 fringe events. So that's across a broad spectrum of themes, from diversity in tech to technical meetups to showcasing the latest technologies. We really think we've got something for everyone. I know that might sound like a bit of a cliche, but I would honestly encourage anyone to go to the website. That's technext.co.uk, and you can see the breadth of activity. So there's a lot of fun to be had, and there's a lot of things to celebrate.
And when is it? And how do you get involved? Where does it take place?
So it takes place across the entirety of the region. So we've literally got fringe events from the north of Northumberland all the way down to areas like Hartlepool, to Teesside, and everywhere in between. So the festival is a 5-day-long event. It starts on June 17th on the Monday and finishes on Friday the 21st. So you can buy tickets for some of our main events, the curated events. So that's our main stage conference and the like. But all of the fringe events, those 75 events, are all free, and they range from people who might be very well versed in technology, you know, maybe have been working in the sector for decades, you know, catering all the way through to people who are looking to just dip their toe into the sector, maybe find out more or make their first move into the sector. So there's a lot going on, and everything's on the website. The
week beginning 17th of June. The website is a web address.
So that's TechNext, TechNext.co.uk.
Great. That's a fantastic plug. It sounds really interesting. Andrew, do you not agree? Maybe Jamie would agree. Isn't now every company a tech company? Is your company a tech company?
Certainly going that way, Graham, definitely, isn't it? I think when you look at where we've come from 10 years ago to what we do now, seems to be the case.
I tell you what, Jamie, we've just been integrating AI at Recognition, my firm, and I've been learning ChatGPT-4 and the prompts, and I've been talking to it on my phone. And I've got my young grandchildren staying overnight in a couple of weeks, and I've worked out how to get the phone, ChatGPT rather, to tell them a bedtime story. So there we are. It's even good for grandparent duties.
Well, it certainly is, and you could even integrate some voice control. So maybe if you wanted a bit of a Geordie lullaby from someone like Jimmy Nail, I'm sure he could read Three Little Pigs or something like that.
That sounds like a great idea. Thank you very much. All right, Jamie. Thank you, Andrew. Now, staying with this theme, over to my colleague Josh, who spoke with Aman Chahal, who is from TaperedPlus, and he's been talking with them and academics from Teesside University in a fascinating insight at how AI is being used in their business.
Thank you, Graham. TaperedPlus, the flat roofing specialist over in Teesside, working with Teesside University to develop its own specific AI to streamline its workflows. I caught up with Aman Chahal, some academics from Teesside University, to find out a little bit more.
Innovation's at the heart of TaperedPlus. What we are, what we do is one of our core values. We always invest heavily in R&D, and as a focus group, we were looking at what's the next big thing. AI is on the top of the agenda for a lot of businesses, and as an SME, we thought, well, why not us? We've got a good, long-lasting relationship with the University of Teesside. I'm a former graduate myself, and we've partnered together to create something to really improve our efficiencies, processes, and value creation plan.
AI is making sense out of nonsense. AI is the tool for us to enable the businesses to dig out the relationships, correlationships from that big set of data and help them in making informed decisions.
In this project, in collaboration with the TaperedPlus, to see how we can use AI, and more specifically natural language processing, to start from emails, body of the emails, attachment, PDF, any kind of attachment, and extract information.
Technology is at the forefront of what we do. That includes all stages of the design process, from when we receive an inquiry up until an order stage, okay? And there's a lot of research we put into it, always evolving and making these processes better. And that includes introducing technology such as AI to ultimately give our customers the best customer service we can possibly give.
Interesting stuff to see how a business like TaperedPlus is using AI. I'm going to go back to you now, Graham.
Thank you, Joss, and also the team at Teesside University there and at TaperedPlus. Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Northern Business Podcast. If you want to be a guest on the podcast, get in touch via LinkedIn. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks to my podcast producer, Harry Sinclair, and technical operator, Kieran Graham, today. Next time, join us on the Northern Business Podcast. Don't miss an episode. Like, rate and subscribe on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.